Taylor Swift. Abstract. Taylor Allison Swift, born December 13, 1989, is an American singer-songwriter. She is best known for her narrative songwriting that often centers around her personal life and has received widespread critical praise and media coverage. At age 14, Swift became the youngest artist signed by the Sony ATV music publishing house, and at age 15, she signed her first record deal. Her 2006 eponymous debut album was the longest-charting album of the 2000s in the US. Its third single, Our Song, made her the youngest person to single-handedly write and perform a #1 song on their Billboard Hot Country Songs chart. Swift's second studio album, Fearless, was released in 2008. Buoyed by the pop crossover success of the singles Love Story and You Belong With Me, it became the US best-selling album of 2009. In the US, won 4 Grammy Awards including Album of the Year and was certified Diamond by the RIAA. Swift's self-written third album Speak Now, 2010, and fourth album Red, 2012, both sold over 1 million copies in their first weeks in the US, and the latter yielded her first Billboard Hot 100 #1 single. We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together, her fifth album and first all-pop project. 1989, 2014, won 3 Grammy Awards, including the Album of the Year, and produced the #1 singles Shake It Off and Blank Space, making Swift the first woman to win Album of the Year twice as lead artist and the first woman to replace herself at the top spot on the Hot 100. Her sixth album, Reputation, 2017, made her the only act to have 4 albums each sell 1 million copies in their first week in the US and yielded her fifth #1 song on the Hot 100. Look What You Made Me Do. Her seventh album, Lover, 2019, became the best-selling studio album worldwide in 2019, having sold more than 50 million albums and 150 million singles globally. Swift is one of the world's best-selling music artists of all time. Her accolades include 10 Grammy Awards, an Emmy Award, and 6 Guinness World Records. She is the most awarded act and woman at the American Music Awards, 29 wins, and Billboard Music Awards, 23 wins, respectively. She has been included in multiple power rankings, such as Time's annual list of the 100 most influential people in the world, 2010, 2015 and 2019, Rolling Stone's 100 greatest songwriters of all time, 2015, the Forbes Celebrity 100, and Billboard's Greatest of All Time Artists chart, 2019. She was named Global Recording Artist of the Year twice by the International Federation of the Phonographic Industry, 2014 and 2019, Woman of the Decade, 2019, by Billboard, and the Artist of the Decade, 2019, by the American Music Awards. Life and career. Taylor Allison Swift was born on December 13, 1989, in West Reading, Pennsylvania. Her father, Scott Kingsley Swift, was a stockbroker for Merrill Lynch. Her mother, Andrea Gardner Swift, was a homemaker who had worked as a mutual fund marketing executive. Swift, who has said she has Scottish heritage, was named after the singer-songwriter James Taylor. She has a younger brother named Austin Kingsley Swift, who is an actor. Swift spent her early years on a Christmas tree farm, which her father purchased from one of his clients. Swift identifies as a Christian. She attended preschool and kindergarten at the Alvernia Montessori School, run by the Bernardine Franciscan Sisters, before transferring to the Windcroft School. The family moved to a rented house in the suburban town of Wyomissing, Pennsylvania, where she attended Wyomissing Area Senior High School. At age 9, Swift became interested in musical theater and performed in 4 Berkshire Theater Academy productions. She also traveled regularly to New York City for vocal and acting lessons. Swift later shifted her focus toward country music inspired by Shania Twain's songs, which made her want to just run around the block 4 times and daydream about everything. She spent her weekends performing at local festivals and events. After watching a documentary about Faith Hill, Swift felt sure she needed to go to Nashville, Tennessee, to pursue a music career. She traveled with her mother at age 11 to visit Nashville record labels and submitted a demo tape of Dolly Parton and Dixie Chicks karaoke covers. She was rejected, however, because everyone in that town wanted to do what I wanted to do. So, I kept thinking to myself, I need to figure out a way to be different. When Swift was about 12 years old, computer repairman and local musician Ronnie Kremer taught her to play guitar. He helped with her first efforts as a songwriter, leading to her writing Lucky You. In 2003, Swift and her parents started working with New York-based music manager Dan Dimetro. With his help, Swift modeled for Abercrombie & Fitch as part of their Rising Stars campaign, had an original song included on a Maybelline compilation CD, and attended meetings with major record labels. After performing original songs at an RCA Records showcase, Swift was given an artist development deal and began making frequent trips to Nashville with her mother, to help Swift break into country music. Her father transferred to Merrill Lynch's Nashville office when she was 14, and the family relocated to a lakefront house in Hendersonville, Tennessee. Swift attended Hendersonville High School but after 2 years transferred to the Aaron Academy, which through homeschooling could accommodate her touring schedule. She graduated a year early. In Nashville, Swift worked with experienced music row songwriters such as Troy Verges, Brett Beavers, Brett James, Mac McAnally, and the Warren Brothers, and formed a lasting working relationship with Liz Rose. They began meeting for 2-hour writing sessions every Tuesday afternoon after school. Rose thought the sessions were of the easiest I've ever done. Basically, I was just her editor. She'd write about what happened in school that day. She had such a clear vision of what she was trying to say, and she'd come in with the most incredible hooks. Swift was signed by the Sony ATV Tree Publishing house but left RCA Records when she was 14. She later said, I genuinely felt that I was running out of time. I wanted to capture these years of my life on an album while they still represented what I was going through. At an industry showcase at Nashville's Bluebird Cafe in 2005, Swift caught the attention of Scott Borchetta, a DreamWorks Records executive who was preparing to form an independent record label, Big Machine Records. She had first met Borchetta in 2004. Swift became one of Big Machine's first signings, and her father purchased a 3% stake in the company for an estimated $120,000. She began working on her eponymous debut album shortly after. Swift persuaded Big Machine to hire her demo producer Nathan Chapman, with whom she felt she had the right chemistry. She wrote 3 of the album's songs alone, and co-wrote the remaining 8 with Rose, Robert Ellis Orrell, Brian Maher, and Angelo Petralia. Taylor Swift was released on October 24, 2006. John Caramanica of the New York Times described it as a small masterpiece of pop-minded country, both wide-eyed and cynical, held together by Ms. Swift's firm, pleading voice. Taylor Swift peaked at number 5 on the Billboard 200 Albums chart in the United States, spending 157 weeks there, to longest stay on the chart by any release in the U.S. that decade. As of August 2016, the album had sold over 7.75 million copies worldwide. Big Machine Records was still in its infancy during the June 2006 release of the lead single, Tim McGraw. Swift and her mother helped stuff the CD singles into envelopes to send to radio. She spent much of 2006 promoting Taylor Swift with a radio tour, television appearances, and opening for Rascal Flatts on select dates during their 2006 tour after they fired their previous opening act, Eric Church. for playing longer than his allotted time. Church jokingly told Swift she should give him her first gold record as thanks for getting fired. She sent him her first gold record with a note that said, "Thanks for playing too long and too loud on the flat door. I sincerely appreciate it." Taylor Borchetta said that record industry peers disapproved of his signing a 16-year-old singer-songwriter, but that Swift tapped into a previously unknown market: teenage girls who listen to country music. Following Tim McGraw, 4 more singles were released throughout 2007 and 2008: Teardrops on My Guitar, Our Song, Picture to Burn, and Should Have Said No. All were successful on Billboard's Hot Country Songs chart in the United States, with Our Song and Should Have Said No reaching number 1. With Our Song, Swift became the youngest person to single-handedly write and perform a number 1 song on the chart. Teardrops on My Guitar reached number 13 on the Billboard Hot 100 Songs chart in the United States. Swift also released the holiday album Sounds of the Season, the Taylor Swift Holiday Collection, in October 2007 and the EP Beautiful Eyes in July 2008. She promoted her debut album extensively as the opening act for other artists on their tours. Swift won accolades for Taylor Swift. She was one of the recipients of the Nashville Songwriters Association's Songwriter Artist of the Year in 2007, becoming the youngest person to be honored with the title. She also won the Country Music Association's Horizon Award for Best New Artist, the Academy of Country Music Awards Top New Female Vocalist, and the American Music Awards Favorite Country Female Artist honor. She was also nominated for Best New Artist at the 50th Annual Grammy Awards. She opened for the Rascal Flatts on their 2008 summer and fall tour. In July of that year, Swift began a romance with singer Joe Jonas that ended 3 months later. Swift's second studio album, Fearless, was released on November 11, 2008. The lead single, Love Story, was released in September 2008. It peaked at number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 1 in Australia. 4 more singles were released throughout 2008 and 2009: White Horse, You Belong With Me, 15, and Fearless. You Belong With Me was the album's highest charting single on the Billboard Hot 100, peaking at number 2. The album debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200 and was the top-selling album of 2009 in the United States. Swift's first concert tour, the Fearless Tour, promoted the album. It grossed over $63 million. Taylor Swift, Journey to Fearless, a concert film, was aired on television and later released on DVD and Blu-ray. Swift also performed as a supporting act for Keith Urban's Escape Together World Tour. In 2009, the music video for You Belong With Me was named Best Female Video at the MTV Video Music Awards. Her acceptance speech was interrupted by rapper Kanye West. The incident was the subject of controversy and widespread media attention, resulting in many internet memes. James Montgomery of MTV argued the incident and subsequent media attention turned Swift into a bona fide mainstream celebrity. That year she won 5 American Music Awards, including Artist of the Year and Favorite Country Album this year. Billboard named her 2009's Artist of the Year. The album ranked number 99 on NPR's 2017 list of the 150 greatest albums made by women. At the 52nd Annual Grammy Awards, Fearless was named Album of the Year and Best Country Album, and White Horse was named Best Country Song and Best Female Country Vocal Performance. Swift was the youngest artist to win Album of the Year. During the ceremony, Swift sang You Belong With Me and Rhiannon with Stevie Nicks. Her performance received negative reviews and caused a media backlash. John Caramanica of the New York Times found it refreshing to see someone so gifted make the occasional flub, and described Swift as the most important new pop star of the past few years. Swift became the youngest artist to be named Entertainer of the Year by the Country Music Association. Fearless also won the association's Album of the Year award. Swift contributed backing vocals to John Mayer's "Half of My Heart," a single featured on his fourth album, Battle Studies, 2009. She co-wrote and recorded Best Days of Your Life with Kelly Pickler, and co-wrote 2 songs for the Hannah Montana, the movie soundtrack, You Always Find Your Way Back Home, and Crazier. Swift also provided vocals for Boys Like Girls 2 Is Better Than 1. She contributed 2 songs to the Valentine's Day soundtrack, including the country pop song, Today Was a Fairy Tale, which became her first #1 on the Canadian Hot 100 chart and her second #2 peaking song in the US. While filming her cinematic debut Valentine's Day in October 2009, Swift began a romantic relationship with co-star Taylor Lautner. They broke up later that year. The romantic comedy, released in 2010, saw her play the ditty girlfriend of a high school jock, a role which the Los Angeles Times felt showed Swift had serious comedic potential. In a scathing review, a critic for Variety deemed her entirely undirected, arguing she needs to find a skilled director to tamp her down and channel her obviously abundant energy. Swift made her TV acting debut in a 2009 episode of CBS's CSI Crime Scene Investigation, playing a rebellious teenager. The New York Times noted the character allowed Swift to be a little bit naughty. Incredibly so. Later that year, Swift both hosted and performed as the musical guest on an episode of Saturday Night Live and was the first host to write their own opening monologue. Entertainment Weekly described her as the season's best Saturday Night Live host so far, noting she was always up for the challenge, seemed to be having fun, and helped the rest of the cast nail the punchlines. In August 2010, Swift released Mine, the lead single from her third studio album, Speak Now. It entered the US charts at #3, making Swift the second female artist in the history of the Hot 100, after Mariah Carey, to debut multiple tracks in the top 5 in 1 year. The other was Today Was a Fairy Tale, at #2. Swift wrote the album alone and co-produced every track. Speak Now, released on October 25, 2010, was a commercial success, debuting at #1 on the Billboard 200, and becoming the 16th album to achieve opening week sales of 1 million copies. It became the fastest-selling digital album by a female artist, with 278,000 downloads in a week, earning Swift an entry in the 2010 Guinness World Records. She earned a second entry after she became the first woman to achieve 10-track debuts on their Billboard Hot 100. 3 of the album's singles, Mine, Back to December, and Mean, peaked in the top 10 in Canada, while in the US, the earlier 2 along with the title track peaked in the top 10 of the Hot 100 chart. Later in 2010, she briefly dated actor Jake Gyllenhaal. Mean won Best Country Song and Best Country Solo Performance at the 54th Annual Grammy Awards. Swift performed it during the ceremony. Claire Sudduth of Time felt she delivered her comeback on key and with a vengeance. Jamie Dearwester of USA Today wrote that the criticism in 2010 seemed to have made her a better songwriter and live performer. Swift won other awards for Speak Now, including Songwriter, Artist of the Year by the Nashville Songwriters Association, 2010 and 2011, Woman of the Year by Billboard, 2011, and Entertainer of the Year by the Academy of Country Music, 2011 and 2012, and the Country Music Association in 2011. At the American Music Awards of 2011, Swift won Artist of the Year and Favorite Country Album this year. Rolling Stone placed Speak Now at number 45 in its 2012 list of the 50 best female albums of all time, writing, "She might get played on the country station, but she's one of the few genuine rock stars we've got these days, with a flawless ear for what makes a song click." The Speak Now World Tour ran from February 2011 to March 2012 and grossed over $123 million. In November 2011, Swift released her first live album, Speak Now World Tour, live. The following month, she contributed 2 original songs to the Hunger Games soundtrack album, Safe and Sound, co-written and recorded with the Civil Wars and T-Bone Burnett, and Eyes Open. Safe and Sound won the Grammy Award for Best Song Written for Visual Media and was also nominated for the Golden Globe Award for Best Original Song. Swift contributed vocals to rapper B.O.B.'s Both of Us, released in May 2012. From July to September 2012, Swift dated political icon Kennedy. In August, Swift released We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together, the lead single from her 4th studio album, Red. It became her first #1 in the US and New Zealand and reached the top slot on iTunes Digital Song Sales chart 50 minutes after its release, earning the fastest-selling single in digital history Guinness World Record. Swift released the album's 2nd single, Begin Again, in October. It reached #7 on the Billboard Hot 100. Other singles released from the album include I Knew You Were Trouble, 22, Everything Has Changed, The Last Time, and Red. I Knew You Were Trouble was a major commercial success, peaking at #2 in the United States. Red was released on October 22, 2012, incorporating new genres for Swift, such as heartland rock, dubstep and dance pop. The album was a critical and commercial success, and debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200 with first-week sales of 1.21 million copies. This marked the highest opening sales in a decade in the United States, and made Swift the first female to have 2 million selling album openings, a record recognized by the Guinness Book of World Records. The Red Tour ran from March 2013 to June 2014 and grossed over $150 million. The tour broke the ticket sales record in China with all 18,000 tickets sold in 60 seconds. Red earned several accolades, including 4 nominations at the 56th Annual Grammy Awards. Its single, I Knew You Were Trouble, won Best Female Video at the 2013 MTV Video Music Awards. Swift was named Best Female Country Artist at the 2012 American Music Awards and Artist of the Year. At the 2013 ceremony, she received the Nashville Songwriters Association's Songwriter Artist Award for the 5th and 6th consecutive years in 2012 and 2013. Swift was also honored by the association with a special Pinnacle Award, making her the 2nd recipient of the accolade after Garth Brooks. During this time, she had a short-term relationship with British singer Harry Styles. In 2013, Swift co-wrote and co-produced Sweeter Than Fiction with Jack Antonoff for the One Chance soundtrack, and received a Best Original Song nomination at the 71st Golden Globe Awards. She provided guest vocals for Tim McGraw's song, Highway Don't Care, featuring guitar work by Keith Urban. Swift performed As Tears Go By with the Rolling Stones in Chicago, Illinois as part of their 50 and Counting tour, and said that the band was a major influence on her career outlook. She also joined Florida Georgia Line on stage during their set at the 2013 country radio seminar to Sing Cruise. Swift voiced Audrey, a tree lover, in the animated film The Lorax, 2012, made a cameo in the sitcom New Girl, 2013, and had a supporting role in the film adaptation of The Giver, 2014. In March 2014, Swift relocated to New York City. Around this time, she was working on her 5th studio album, 1989, with co-writers Antonoff, Max Martin, Shellback, Imogen Heap, Ryan Tedder, and Ali Payami. She promoted the album through various campaigns, including inviting fans to secret album listening sessions. Credited as her first documented official pop album, it marked a departure from her country albums. The album was released on October 27, 2014, to positive reviews. 1989 sold 1.28 million copies in the US during the first week of its release and debuted atop the Billboard 200. This made Swift the first act to have 3 albums sell more than 1 million copies in their opening release week, for which she earned another Guinness World Record. As of June 2017, 1989 had sold over 10 million copies worldwide. The lead single, Shake It Off, was released in August 2014 and debuted at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. The album generated 2 additional number 1 singles, Blank Space and Bad Blood, featuring Kendrick Lamar, as well as the top 10 entries, Style and Wildest Dreams, and other singles, Out of the Woods and New Romantics. Shake It Off, Blank Space, and Bad Blood also topped the charts in Australia and Canada. After Blank Space reached number 1 in the US following Shake It Off, Swift became the first woman in the Hot 100's history to succeed herself at the top spot. The music video for Blank Space was briefly the fastest video to reach 1 billion views on Vevo. The video for Bad Blood won Video of the Year and Best Collaboration at the 2015 MTV Video Music Awards. Swift's headlining tour, the 1989 World Tour, running from May to December 2015, grossed over $250 million, and was highest-grossing tour of the year. Swift was named Billboard's Woman of the Year in 2014, becoming the first artist to win the award twice. That year she also received the Dick Clark Award for Excellence at the American Music Awards. In 2015, Swift won the Brit Award for International Female Solo Artist. Swift was one of 8 artists to receive a 50th Anniversary Milestone Award at the 2015 Academy of Country Music Awards. In 2016, she won 3 Grammy Awards for 1989 Album of the Year, Best Pop Vocal Album, and Best Music Video for Bad Blood. She became the first woman and 5th act overall to win the first of these twice as a lead artist, as well as the first act to do so with albums of different genres. In March 2015, Swift started dating Scottish DJ and record producer Calvin Harris, and by June, they were ranked as the highest-paid celebrity couple over the past year by Forbes with combined earnings of over $146 million. After Swift and Harris announced the end of their relationship in June 2016, the song they had written together, This Is What You Came For, which featured vocals from Rihanna, was released to international success. Swift was initially credited under the pseudonym Nils S. J. Berg. The same month, Swift began dating English actor Tom Hiddleston, whom she met at the Met Gala event she co-chaired that year. The relationship ended several months later. In August, Swift addressed her mother's cancer diagnosis and encouraged others to get a medical checkup. In 2016, Swift's intellectual property rights management and holding company, Taz Rights Management, filed for 73 trademarks related to Swift and the 1989-era memes. That September, she began dating British actor Joe Alwyn. In October, Little Big Town released Better Man, written solely by Swift, for their 7th album, The Breaker. The song earned Swift an award for Song of the Year at the 51st CMA Awards. 2 months later, Swift and British singer Zayn Malik released a single together called I Don't Wanna Live Forever, for the soundtrack of the film 50 Shades Darker. 2017. The song reached number 1 in Sweden and number 2 in the United States. At the 2017 MTV Video Music Awards, the duo won the award for Best Collaboration for the song's music video. In August 2017, Swift successfully sued David Mueller, a former morning show personality for Denver's KYGOF Monsieur 4 years earlier. Swift had informed Mueller's bosses that he had sexually assaulted her by groping her at an event. After being fired, Mueller accused Swift of lying and sued her for damages from his loss of employment. Shortly after, Swift countersued for sexual assault for $1. The jury rejected Mueller's claims and ruled in favor of Swift. Swift thereafter cleared her social media accounts and then released Look What You Made Me Do as the lead single from her 6th album, Reputation. The song topped the charts in Australia, Ireland, New Zealand, the UK, and the US. Its music video had over 43.2 million views during its first day on YouTube. breaking the site's record for the most viewed music video in 24 hours. In October, Swift released the album's second single, Ready for It, quote, which charted at number 3 in Australia and at number 4 in the US. Two promotional singles were released from Reputation, Gorgeous, and Call It What You Want. Gorgeous later became the album's fifth single, but only in Europe. The album was released in November, and sold 1.21 million copies in the United States, becoming 2017's the country's top-selling album. Pure sales only. First week worldwide sales amounted to 2 million copies. With this achievement, she became the first act to have 4 albums sell 1 million copies within 1 week in the US. The album topped the charts in several countries, including the US, the UK, Australia, and Canada. Later that month, Swift performed Ready for It and Call It What You Want on Saturday Night Live. Endgame, featuring Ed Sheeran and rapper Future, followed in November as the third single and peaked at number 18 in the US. Other singles from their album include New Year's Day, released exclusively to country radio, and Delicate. In April 2018, Swift featured on Sugarland's Babe from their album Bigger. In support of Reputation, she embarked on her Reputation Stadium tour from May to November 2018. The tour broke multiple venue attendance and gross earnings records in the US, taking in $266.1 million and selling more than 2 million tickets. Swift broke her own record for the highest-grossing domestic tour by a woman, as well as the record for the highest-grossing North American concert tour in history. Worldwide, the tour grossed $345.7 million, making it the second highest-grossing concert tour of the year. At the American Music Awards of 2018, Swift won Tour of the Year, Artist of the Year, Favorite Pop Rock Female Artist, and Favorite Pop Rock Album for Reputation. With a total of 23 awards, she became the most awarded female winner in AMA history, a record previously held by Whitney Houston. Reputation was Swift's last album under her 12-year contract with Big Machine Records. In November 2018, she signed a new multi-album deal with Big Machine's distributor Universal Music Group. In the US, her later releases were promoted under the Republic Records imprint. Swift said the contract included a provision for her to maintain ownership of her master recordings. In addition, in the event that Universal sells any part of its stake in Spotify, Spotify agreed to distribute a non-recoupable portion of the proceeds among their artists. In late November, Big Machine Records released a Reputation Stadium Tour playlist for streaming services. The playlist includes every song performed on B stages during the Reputation Stadium Tour. On December 31, Reputation Stadium Tour, a concert film, was released on Netflix to critical acclaim this year. In April 2019, Swift released Me, quote, featuring Brendan Urie of Panic! At the Disco as the lead single from her 7th studio album, Lover. The song debuted at number 100 on the Billboard Hot 100 3 days after its release, and jumped to number 2 the following week, biggest single week jump in the chart's history. The music video for Me broke a Vevo record by amassing 65.2 million views within its first day of release. However, the song received mixed reviews and Swift removed a much-maligned lyric of the song from their album this year. In June, she released the second single, You Need to Calm Down, which debuted and peaked at number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100, marking her 15th top 10 debut, the most among women. In July, she released a promotional single from the album, The Archer. The title track, the album's third single, became her third consecutive Hot 100 top 10 single from the album this year. Lover was released on August 23 to positive reviews and debuted atop the Billboard 200 with the first week tally of 867,000 units, including 679,000 copies sold, making Swift the first female artist in history to have 6 albums sell more than 500,000 copies in a single week. It also sold more copies than the other 199 albums on the chart combined that week. All of the album's 18 songs entered the Billboard Hot 100, setting a new record for the most simultaneous chart entries for a female artist at the 2019 MTV Video Music Awards. The videos for Me and You Need to Calm Down received 12 nominations. Me won Best Visual Effects, and You Need to Calm Down won Video of the Year, making Swift the second artist and the first female artist to win the award for a video that they co-directed and video for good. Swift was the opening performer at the award ceremony. By the end of 2019, Lover became the year's best-selling physical album in the US and the best-selling album by a female artist worldwide. Swift was named the Global Best-Selling Artist of the Year by the IFPI and became the first woman to win the honor twice, having previously won in 2014. In June 2019, Big Machine Records, Swift's former record label, was acquired by talent manager Scooter Braun, a purchase that included the masters for her first 6 studio albums in a Tumblr post. Swift sharply criticized the transaction, stating she had been trying to buy the masters for years, and described Braun as an incessant, manipulative bully. In August, Swift announced plans to re-record the albums in November 2020. In November, Swift said that Braun and Big Machine founder Scott Borchetta had blocked her from performing her older songs at the 2019 American Music Awards and from using older material for her Netflix documentary Miss Americana. Big Machine denied both allegations and said it was owed millions of dollars in multiple assets by Swift. In response, Swift's representatives released correspondence showing a Big Machine executive refusing to grant licenses for the documentary, and stated that Big Machine owed Swift nearly $8 million in unpaid royalties. On November 18, Big Machine issued a statement saying it had agreed to grant all licenses of their artists' performances to stream post-show and for rebroadcast on mutually approved platforms for the American Music Awards, though it did not mention Swift by name. Swift won 6 American Music Awards that year, including Artist of the Decade for the 2010s. In April 2020, Big Machine released Live from Clear Channel Strip 2008, a live album of a 2008 radio show performance. Swift said she did not authorize the release. In November 2019, Swift was included on Billboard's Greatest of All Time Artists chart at number 8, the highest placement for an act that debuted in the 21st century. That same month, she released an original song she wrote with Andrew Lloyd Webber titled Beautiful Ghosts for the film Cats, 2019. In December, she composed, recorded, and released a Christmas single, Christmas Tree Farm, and played Bombalurina in the film adaptation of Lloyd Webber's musical Cats. Although critics reviewed the film negatively, many noted Swift's brief role. On January 23, Miss Americana premiered at the 2020 Sundance Film Festival and was released on Netflix on January 31 to positive reviews. The documentary includes the song, Only the Young, which Swift wrote after the 2018 United States elections. In February 2020, Swift signed an exclusive global publishing deal with Universal Music Publishing Group. After her 16-year-old contract with Sony ATV expired that month, she released a live version of Lover song, The Man, and its music video, Loverfest. Swift's concert tour in support of the album was postponed to 2021 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Footage from Swift's 2019 City of Lover concert in Paris aired on ABC on May 17, 2020 and was made available for streaming on Hulu and Disney Plus the next day. Swift also released live versions of the Lover album tracks she performed at the One Off Paris concert after the television special's premiere. Swift made a special appearance on YouTube's Dear Class of 2020 live stream on June 7, 2020. Artistry. One of Swift's earliest musical memories is listening to her maternal grandmother, Marjorie Finley, sing in church. As a child, she enjoyed Disney film soundtracks. My parents noticed that, once I had run out of words, I would just make up my own. Swift has said she owes her confidence to her mother, who helped her prepare for class presentations as a child. She also attributes her fascination with writing and storytelling to her mother. Swift was drawn to the storytelling aspect of country music, and was introduced to the genre listening to the great female country artists of the 90s, Shania Twain, Faith Hill, and the Dixie Chicks. Twain, both as a songwriter and performer, was her biggest musical influence. Hill was Swift's childhood role model. Everything she said, did, wore, I tried to copy it. She admired the Dixie Chicks' defiant attitude and their ability to play their own instruments. The band's Cowboy Take Me Away was the first song Swift learned to play on the guitar. Swift also explored the music of older country stars, including Patsy Cline, Loretta Lynn, Dolly Parton, and Tammy Wynette. She believes Parton is an amazing example to every female songwriter out there. All country artists like Ryan Adams, Patty Griffin and Lori McKenna have also inspired Swift. MW Parser output, T-multi, Thumbina, display, flex, flex direction, column, MW Parser output, T-multi tro, display, flex, flex direction, row, clear, left, flex wrap, wrap, width, 100%, box sizing, border box, MW Parser output, T-multi, single, margin, 1px, float, left, MW Parser output, T-multi, theta, clear, both, font weight, bold, text align, center, aligned self, center, background color, transparent, width, 100%, MW Parser output, T-multi, thumb caption, text align, left, background color, transparent, MW Parser output, T-multi, thumb caption center, text align, center, background color, transparent, MW Parser output, T-multi, text align, left, text align, left, MW Parser output, T-multi, text align, right, text align, right, MW Parser output, T-multi, text align, center, text align, center, at media Orland, max width, 720px, MW Parser output, T-multi, Thumbina, width, 100%, important, box sizing, border box, max width, none, important, align items, centered, MW Parser output, T-multi tro, justify content, centered, MW Parser output, T-multi, single, float, none, important, max width, 100%, important, box sizing, border box, text align, centered, MW Parser output, T-multi, thumb caption, text align, center. Swift lists Paul McCartney, The Rolling Stones, Bruce Springsteen, Emmylou Harris, Chris Christopherson, and Carly Simon as her career role models. Discussing McCartney and Harris, Swift has said, they've taken chances, but they've also been the same artist for their entire careers. McCartney, both as a Beatle and a solo artist, makes Swift feel as if I've been let into his heart and his mind. He's out there continuing to make his fans so happy. Any musician could only dream of a legacy like that. She likes Springsteen for being so musically relevant after such a long period of time. She aspires to be like Harris as she grows older because of prioritizing music over fame. Swift says of Christopherson that he shines in songwriting, and admires Simon for being an emotional, but a strong person. Swift has been influenced by other non-country artists. As a preteen, she enjoyed bubblegum pop acts including Hanson and Britney Spears, for whom Swift had an unwavering devotion. In her high school years, she listened to emo rock bands like Dashboard Confessional, Fall Out Boy, and Jimmy Eat World, and pop R&B performers like Justin Timberlake, whom she called her musical crush. Swift's fifth album, The Pop Focus 1989, was influenced by some of her favorite 1980s pop acts, including Peter Gabriel, Annie Lennox, Phil Collins and, like a prayer era, Madonna. Discussing Madonna, Swift said, "One element of Madonna's career that really takes center stage is how many times she's reinvented herself. It's easier to stay in one look, one comfort zone, one musical style. It's inspiring to see someone whose only predictable quality is being unpredictable." Swift has named Pete Wentz and Lana Del Rey as her favorite lyricists. Swift's music contains elements of pop, synth pop, country pop and rock. She described herself as a country artist until the 2014 release of 1989, which she characterized as a sonically cohesive pop album. Rolling Stone wrote, "Might get played on the country station, but she's one of the few genuine rock stars we've got these days." According to the New York Times, there isn't much in Ms. Swift's music to indicate country: a few banjo strums, a pair of cowboy boots worn on stage, a bedazzled guitar, but there's something in her winsome, vulnerable delivery that's unique to Nashville. The Guardian wrote that Swift cranks melodies out with the pitiless efficiency of a Scandinavian pop factory. Swift's vocals were described by Sophie Shalaki of The Hollywood Reporter as sweet but soft. The Los Angeles Times identified Swift's defining vocal gesture in studio recordings as the line that slides down like a contented sigh or up like a raised eyebrow, giving her beloved girl time hits their air of easy intimacy. Rolling Stone, in a Speak Now review, wrote, "Swift's voice is unaffected enough to mask how masterful she has become as a singer. She lowers her voice for the payoff lines in the classic mode of a shy girl trying to talk tough." In another review of Speak Now, The Village Voice wrote that her phrasing was previously bland and muddled, but that's changed. She can still sound strained and thin, and often strays into a pitch that drives some people crazy, but she's learned how to make words sound like what they mean. NPR Music described her singing as personal and conversational thanks to her exceptional gift for inflection, but also suffers from a wobbly pitch and tight nasal delivery. The Hollywood Reporter wrote that her live vocals are fine, but they do not match those of her peers. Swift has been praised for refusing to correct her pitch with auto-tune. In an interview with The New Yorker, Swift characterized herself primarily as a songwriter. "I write songs, and my voice is just a way to get those lyrics across." A writer for The Tennessean conceded in 2010 that Swift is not the best technical singer, but described her as the best communicator that we've got. Swift's vocal presence is something that concerns her, and she has put a lot of work into improving it. It was reported in 2010 that she continues to take vocal lessons. She has said that she only feels nervous performing if I'm not sure what the audience thinks of me. Like at award shows, Swift uses her life experiences as an inspiration in her work. She often addresses the anonymous crushes of her high school years and celebrities in her early songs. Swift frequently criticizes ex-boyfriends, an aspect of her songwriting downplayed by The Village Voice. Being told what songs mean is like having a really pushy professor, and it imperils a true appreciation of Swift's talent, which is not confessional, but dramatic. However, New York believes the media scrutiny over her decision to mine her personal life for music is sexist, inasmuch as it's not asked of her male peers. Swift said that not all of her songs are factual and they are sometimes based on observations. Aside from clues provided in her liner notes, Swift tries not to talk about song subjects specifically, because these are real people. You try to give insight as to where you were coming from as a writer without completely throwing somebody under the bus. For a female to write about her feelings, and then be portrayed as some clingy, insane, desperate girlfriend in need of making you marry her and have kids with her, I think that's taking something that potentially should be celebrated, a woman writing about her feelings in a confessional way, that's taking it and turning it and twisting it into something that is frankly a little sexist. The Guardian has praised Swift for writing about teenage years with the kind of wistful, sepia-toned nostalgia. Over the course of her first two albums, New York has remarked that many singer-songwriters have made great records as teens, but none made great records so explicitly about their teens. The magazine has also compared her work to Brian Wilson. In Fearless, Swift featured fairy tale imagery and explored the disconnect between fairy tales and the reality of love. Her later albums address more adult relationships. In addition to romance and love, Swift's songs have discussed parent-child relationships, friendships, alienation, fame, and career ambitions. Swift frequently includes a tossed-off phrase to suggest large and serious things that won't fit in the song, things that enhance or subvert the surface narrative. Rolling Stone describes Swift as a songwriting savant with an intuitive gift for verse-chorus-bridge architecture. According to The Village Voice, she often uses third-verse point-of-view reversals. In terms of imagery, repetition is evident in Swift's songwriting. In The Guardian's words, she spends so much time kissing in the rain that it seems a miracle she hasn't developed trenchfoot. Slant magazine adds, to Swift's credit, she explores new lyrical motifs over the course of album. Although reviews of Swift's work are almost uniformly positive, The New Yorker has said she is generally portrayed more as a skilled technician than as a Dylan-esque visionary. Swift has collaborated with many different directors to produce her music videos, and over time she has become more involved with writing and directing. She has her own production house, Taylor Swift Productions, Inc., which is credited with producing music videos for singles such as Me, quote, and is known for hiding elaborate clues and Easter eggs in most of her work. In 2010, Swift co-directed the music video for Mind with Roman White. In 2011, she continued to collaborate with White on the music videos for Mean and Hours. Swift developed the concept and treatment for Mean. In an interview, White elaborated that Swift was keenly involved in writing the treatment, casting and wardrobe, and she stayed for both the 15-hour shooting days. Even when she wasn't in the scenes, Swift wrote the concept for the Hours music video and then brought in White to direct, describing her vision of both videos as being storylines. From 2014 to 2018, Swift collaborated with director Joseph Kahn on 8 music videos for each from her albums 1989 and Reputation. Kahn has praised Swift's involvement in the craft. In 2016, Swift worked with American Express for her Blank Space music video, which Kahn directed, and released the interactive ffmpeg Unstaged. Taylor Swift Experience. Swift received starring and executive producer credit, and in 2015 won a Primetime Emmy Award in the Outstanding Interactive Program category for the app. She received producing credit in her music video for Bad Blood. In 2018, Swift developed the concept, wrote the treatment for, and starred in the music video for the Sugarland song, Babe. In 2019, she co-directed the music videos for Me, with Dave Meyers, You Need to Calm Down, with Drew Kish, and Lover, with Kish. She also co-executive produced the second of them with Todrick Hall. The music video for Swift's 2020 single, The Man, marked her official solo directorial debut. Public image. Swift's personal life is the subject of constant media attention. In 2013, Abercrombie & Fitch marketed a slogan T-shirt with a slut-shaming remark directed toward her. The New York Times asserted in 2013 that her dating history has begun to stir what feels like the beginning of a backlash. They questioned whether Swift was in the midst of a quarter-life crisis. Swift has said she is unwilling to discuss her personal life in public. She believes that talking about it can be a career weakness. In 2015, singer Ray Stevens released his album Here We Go Again, which included the single Taylor Swift Is Stalking Me. In 2020, Swift revealed she struggled with an eating disorder in the past. Rolling Stone remarks upon her polite manner. If this is Swift's game face, it must be tattooed on because it never drops. The magazine also takes note of her ease with glad-handing, and The Hollywood Reporter has credited her as the best people person since Bill Clinton, while presenting Swift with an award for her humanitarian endeavors in 2012. Michelle Obama described her as a singer who has rocketed to the top of a music industry that still keeps her feet on the ground. Someone who has shattered every expectation of what a 22-year-old can accomplish. Swift considers Michelle Obama to be a role model. Swift is one of the most followed people on social media, and is known for her friendly interactions with her fans. She has delivered holiday gifts to fans by mail and in person. Dubbed Swiftmas, she considers it her responsibility to be conscious of her influence on young fans, and has said they are the longest and best relationship I have ever had. Often described by the media as America's sweetheart, Swift insists she does not live by all these rigid, weird rules that make me feel all fenced in. I just like the way that I feel like, and that makes me feel very free. She refuses to take part in overly sexualized photo shoots, although Bloomberg LP views her as a sex symbol. Vogue named Swift an icon of American style in 2011. In 2014 she topped People's annual Best Dressed list. In 2015, she was named Woman of the Year at the Elle Style Awards, and ranked first on Maxim's Hot 100 list. Impact. Among the honorific nicknames used to describe Swift are Pop Titan and Country Queen. She has been credited with helping country music become more mainstream, with Billboard writing that the country landscape is much different today, thanks in part to Swift and her insistence on following a game plan that many considered unorthodox, and noted the favorable views toward the genre since her debut. According to the BBC, Swift is responsible for paving the way for crossover artists who no longer wish to be ghettoized into arbitrarily separated musical genres, and potentially ushering in a new era of one-on-one fan interaction. Rolling Stone opined that, because Swift worked so hard at speaking her truth through her lyrics, she helped open up a space for many female artists to seem so effortlessly themselves in their music in an era of tabloids. Billboard also reported that following Swift's rise to fame, labels have become more interested in signing young country singers and artists who write their own music. Guitar manufacturing company Fender deemed the Taylor Swift factor responsible for the worldwide phenomenon that saw young women driving 50% of new guitar sales. Swift is considered one of the artists who resurged ukuleles in modern music. Swift is known for bringing reforms to on-demand music streaming and has been named as leading advocate for artists and songwriters' rights. She is credited with helping boost traditional album sales in the era of streaming. In November 2014, she removed her entire catalog from the streaming service Spotify, arguing that its ad-supported free service undermined the premium service, which provides higher royalties for songwriters. In a June 2015 open letter, Swift criticized Apple Music for not offering royalties to artists during their free 3-month trial period and said she would pull 1989 from the catalog. The following day, Apple announced it would pay artists during the free trial period, and Swift agreed to stream 1989 on their streaming service. Hugh McIntyre, writing for Forbes, praised Swift for using her voice to stand up against a major company and that it mattered more than any other person or organization. She re-released her entire catalog to several major streaming platforms in June 2017. In her 2018 record deal with Universal Music Group, Swift secured a guarantee from the label that any sale of its Spotify shares would result in non-recoupable payments to all artists on its roster. Swift is also one of the most vocal supporters of artists' rights to exercise greater control over their music, especially with regards to ownership of master recordings. She has condemned the unregulated world of private equity that is buying up our music like it's real estate, stating vehemently that creators deserve to own the art make. In addition, she has been labeled as a feminist icon for her consistent efforts in championing gender equality and calling out misogyny and internalized sexism. In honor of Swift's 2 consecutive concerts at the U.S. Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, Minnesota, Governor Mark Dayton proclaimed August 31, 2018 as Taylor Swift Day, praising her as a positive influence on her fans through her example of truthfulness, grace, extensive philanthropy, and strength of character. In 2019, Swift was named Woman of the Decade by Billboard for being one of the most accomplished musical artists of all time over the course of the 2010s. She was also honored as Artist of the Decade at the 2019 American Music Awards, as well as by several publications. Vulture stated that Swift bent the music industry to her will with commercial success, songwriting, steps she took for feminism and female empowerment, and activism within the music industry by standing up for artist rights. By being the savviest power player of the 2010s, she was listed as one of the most influential artists of the decade by CNN. For pushing the boundaries of country and pop, and fighting for the right to her music, Vogue regarded her as one of the world's biggest sustainable fashion influences. Swift has been credited with boosting the popularity of Polaroids by featuring one of the instant photographs in the cover artwork of her album 1989. Musician and producer Jack Antonoff credited Swift for kickstarting his career as a producer. Swift and her work have inspired numerous artists, including Adele, Kelsea Ballerini, Ruth B., Camila Cabello, The Chainsmokers, Ellie Goulding, Conan Gray, Selena Gomez, Halsey, BTS Jin, Niall Horan, Austin Mahone, Paul McCartney, Shawn Mendes, Maren Morris, Nina Nesbitt, Phineas O'Connell, Olivia Rodrigo, Ed Sheeran, Troye Sivan, and Tegan and Sara. Awards and achievements. Swift has received many awards and honors, including 10 Grammy Awards, 29 American Music Awards, 23 Billboard Music Awards, 6 Guinness World Records, 12 Country Music Association Awards including the prestigious Pinnacle Award, 8 Academy of Country Music Awards, 1 Brit Award, and 1 Emmy Award. As a songwriter, she has been honored by the Nashville Songwriters Association and the Songwriters Hall of Fame, and was listed on Rolling Stone's 2015 list of the 100 greatest songwriters of all time. In 2019, Billboard placed her at number 8 on its Greatest of All Time Artists chart. Swift was the highest-ranking artist on the list to have debuted in the 21st century. Swift is one of the world's best-selling musicians of all time. She has sold more than 50 million pure albums to date, including 37.3 million in the US and 150 million singles, and was one of the top 5 music artists with the highest worldwide digital sales. She has accumulated over 97 million units in global consumption, and 54 billion streams across all platforms worldwide. Swift's studio albums Taylor Swift, Fearless, Speak Now, Red, and 1989 have all sold over 4 million copies in the US. She is the third best-selling digital singles artist in the US with a total of 120 million equivalent units certified according to the Recording Industry Association of America, RIAA. She was the highest-paid female musician of the 2010s, placing second on Forbes' list of top-earning musicians of the decade with earnings of $825 million. In 2020, she became the first female artist in the US to have both an album, Fearless, and a song, Shake It Off, be certified diamond by the RIAA. Swift has also appeared in various power listings. Time included her on its annual list of the 100 most influential people in 2010, 2015, and 2019. From 2011 to 2018, she appeared in the top 3 on the Forbes Top Earning Women in Music list with earnings of $45 million. $57 million, $55 million, $64 million, $80 million, $170 million, $44 million, and $80 million. Topping the list in 2016. She also topped the magazine's list of the 100 highest paid celebrities in 2016, a feat that was entered into the Guinness World Records in 2019 with $185 million, and ranked among the top 10 in 2011, 2013 and 2015. In 2015, Swift became the youngest woman to be included on Forbes' list of the 100 most powerful women, ranked at number 64. She was one of the finalists for Time Person of the Year in 2014 and was awarded the honor in 2017 as one of the silence breakers who spoke up about sexual assault. In June 2019, Forbes estimated Swift's net worth at $360 million. Swift was the most Googled female music artist of 2019. Other ventures. Swift's extensive philanthropic efforts have been recognized by the Do Something Awards and their Tennessee Disaster Services. She has also received the Big Help Award for her dedication to helping others and inspiring others through action, and the Ripple of Hope Award for her dedication to advocacy at such a young age. In 2008, she donated $100,000 to the Red Cross to help the victims of the flood in Iowa that year. Swift has performed at charity relief events including Sydney's Sound Relief Concert. She also recorded a song for the Hope for Haiti Now album this year in response to the May 2010 Tennessee floods. Swift donated $500,000 during a telethon hosted by WSMV. In 2011, Swift used a dress rehearsal of her Speak Now tour as a benefit concert for victims of recent tornadoes in the U.S., raising more than $750,000. In 2016, she made a $1 million donation to Louisiana flood relief efforts and donated to the Dolly Parton Fire Fund. In 2017, Swift made a donation to the Houston Food Bank after Hurricane Harvey struck the city. In 2020, she donated $1 million to relief efforts for a series of tornadoes that impacted Tennessee. Swift is a supporter of the arts and donated $75,000 to Nashville's Hendersonville High School in 2010 to help refurbish the school auditorium this year. In 2012, she pledged $4 million to fund the building of a new education center at the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum in Nashville. That year, she also partnered with textbook rental company Chegg to donate $60,000 to the music departments of 6 U.S. colleges. In 2013, Swift donated $100,000 to the Nashville Symphony. Swift also promotes children's literacy. In 2009, she donated $250,000 to various schools around the country to improve education. Further endeavors to promote literacy included donating thousands of books to the Reading Public Library in Pennsylvania, the Nashville Public Library in Tennessee, and New York City schools. In 2015, she donated all proceeds from the sale of the promotional single, Welcome to New York, at the time $50,000, to the New York City Department of Education, and the proceeds from the Wildest Dreams music video to the African Parks Foundation. Swift also sampled a song by the Toronto-based Regent Park School of Music for her song, It's Nice to Have a Friend, the 17th track on her 2019 album Lover, thus enabling the school to earn royalties from her album. She also made a personal donation. In 2007, Swift launched a campaign to protect children from online predators, in partnership with the Tennessee Association of Chiefs of Police. In 2009, Swift recorded a Sound Matters public service announcement, PSA, to make listeners aware of the importance of listening responsibly to prevent hearing impairment. She has donated items to several charities for auction, including the Elton John AIDS Foundation, the UNICEF HAP Project, Moosey Cares, and Feeding America. As a recipient of the Academy of Country Music's Entertainer of the Year in 2011, Swift donated $25,000 to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, Tennessee. In 2012, Swift participated in the Stand Up to Cancer telethon, performing "Ronan," a song she wrote in memory of a 4-year-old boy who died of neuroblastoma. The song was made available for digital download with all proceeds donated to cancer-related charities. In 2014, she donated $100,000 to the V Foundation for Cancer Research and $50,000 to the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. Throughout her career, she has made numerous private visits to hospitals to meet with and support sick patients. Swift has encouraged young people to volunteer in their local communities as part of Global Youth Service Day. In 2015, she helped a pregnant and homeless fan purchase a new house. Swift has made several donations to help victims of sexual assault, such as to American singer-songwriter Kesha to help with her legal battles against Dr. Luke, and to actress Mariska Hargitay's Joyful Heart Foundation organization. In April 2019, she donated $113,000 to the LGBT organization Tennessee Equality Project. Swift donated an undisclosed sum to the media advocacy organization GLAAD in support of Pride Month. In June 2019, during the COVID-19 pandemic, Swift donated $3,000 each to a number of fans as financial support and an undisclosed sum to Nashville music store Grimies to cover worker pay and 3 months' worth of health care. She also donated undisclosed sums to the World Health Organization and Feeding America and offered one of her signed guitars as part of an auction to raise money for the National Health Service. In 2020, Swift performed her 2019 song, Soon You'll Get Better, during the Lady Gaga curated One World Together at Home television special, a benefit concert by Global Citizen to raise funds for the World Health Organization's COVID-19 Solidarity Response Fund. In April 2020, in June 2020, she donated an undisclosed amount to the NAACP Legal Defense and Educational Fund in light of the death of George Floyd and the Black Lives Matter movement and urged fans to do the same. She also donated $1,300 to 2 fans raising money to purchase hair and skin care products for people of color in need. Swift is a feminist and pro-choice. She has consistently spoken out against sexism and misogyny throughout her career, most notably at Billboard's Women in Music Summits in 2014 and 2019 and in her 2020 single, The Man. She was one of the founding signatories of the Time's Up movement against sexual harassment. During the 2008 presidential campaign, she promoted the Every Woman Counts campaign, aimed at engaging women in the political process. She was one of many country stars to record a PSA for the Vote for Your Country campaign. She is also an outspoken critic of LGBT discrimination and white supremacy, calling the latter repulsive and stating that there should be no place for it. Following the 2008 murder of openly gay teenager Larry King, she recorded a GLSEN PSA aimed at combating hate crimes. On the first anniversary of King's death, she told 17 that her parents taught her never to judge others based on whom they love, what color their skin is, or their religion. The music video for Swift's anti-bullying song, Mean, deals in part with homophobia in high schools. It was nominated for an MTV VMA Social Activism Award in 2011. The New York Times believes she is part of a new wave of young, and mostly straight, women who are providing the soundtrack for a generation of gay fans coming to terms with their identity in a time of turbulent and confusing cultural messages. After the Orlando nightclub shooting in June 2016, Swift penned a letter to honor the victims. Swift has supported the March for Our Lives movement and gun control reform in the U.S. Prior to the 2018 midterm elections, she endorsed candidates for public office for the first time in a decision covered heavily in her Miss Americana 2020 documentary. declaring her support for two Democratic candidates in an Instagram post: Congressman Jim Cooper for re-election to the House of Representatives, and former Tennessee Governor Phil Bredesen for election to the Senate. She spoke out against Bredeson's opponent, Republican Congresswoman Marsha Blackburn, saying she was appalled and terrified by her voting record. Swift expressed her desire for greater LGBT rights and gender and racial equality, condemned systemic racism, and encouraged her fans to vote according to their personal values. Vote.org reported that 65,000 people registered to vote in the 24 hours following Swift's post, an unprecedented surge, even accounting for usual registration increases as deadlines approach. During Swift's acceptance speech for Artist of the Year at the American Music Awards of 2018, she encouraged her fans to vote in the 2018 midterm elections. In June 2019, Swift published a letter addressed to Republican Senator Lamar Alexander, urging him to support the Equality Act, and created a petition on Change.org urging the Senate to do the same. It has attracted more than 500,000 signatures, including from Democratic politicians Cory Booker, Elizabeth Warren, Beto O'Rourke, and Kirsten Gillibrand, while accepting an award at the 2019 MTV Video Music Awards on August 26. Swift called on the Trump administration to pass the Equality Act. In June 2020, she praised a Supreme Court ruling that protects LGBT workers from discrimination. In an August 2019 interview with The Guardian, she criticized President Donald Trump for gaslighting the American public and accused his administration of acting like an autocracy, vowing to do everything can to prevent his re-election in 2020. Swift has showed support for the Black Lives Matter movement and condemned racism and police brutality in the U.S. while acknowledging her own privilege. In May 2020, she called for justice in the deaths of African-American men Ahmaud Arbery and George Floyd, responding directly to President Trump's tweet on the Twin Cities riots and Floyd's death. Swift reprimanded Trump for stoking the fires of white supremacy and racism, and the nerve to feign moral superiority before threatening violence, in a post that went viral and became one of the most liked on Twitter at the time. In June 2020, she took to social media to share links to donation funds, informational sites, petitions and other resources related to the national Black Lives Matter movement and protests. Swift also encouraged the public to donate to the NAACP Legal Defense and Educational Fund and register to vote ahead of U.S. state primary elections, stating that it is imperative that we make change to our broken system, and that we need to elect people who will fight against policy brutality and racism of any kind. She shared an essay written by President Barack Obama on policy change in the wake of the George Floyd protests and, citing the COVID-19 pandemic, advocated for mail-in voting for the 2020 U.S. elections. Swift addressed a lengthy social media post to the Capitol Commission and Tennessee Historical Commission, arguing for the removal of Confederate statues in Tennessee, particularly those of Nathan Bedford Forrest and Edward Carmack, and expressing her disgust at monuments standing in our state that celebrate racist historical figures. While promoting her debut album, Swift appeared as the face of Verizon Wireless mobile music campaign. In the Fearless era, she launched a LEI sundress range at Walmart, and designed American Greetings cards and Jack Pacific dolls. She became a spokesperson for the National Hockey Leagues, NHL, Nashville Predators and Sony Cybershot digital cameras. In the Speak Now era, she released a special edition of her album through Target. Swift became a CoverGirl spokesmodel and launched two Elizabeth Arden fragrances, Wonderstruck and Wonderstruck Enchanted. While promoting her fourth album, Red, Swift offered exclusive album promotions through Target, Papa John's Pizza, and Walgreens. She became a spokesmodel for Diet Coke and Keds sneakers. Released her third Elizabeth Arden fragrance, named Taylor by Taylor Swift, and continued her partnerships with Sony Electronics and American Greetings. Swift released her fourth fragrance, Taylor by Taylor Swift, made of starlight, and partnered with the companies AirAsia and Qantas during the Red Tour. The companies acted as the official airlines for the Australian and Asian legs. Cornetto sponsored the Asian leg of the tour. While promoting 1989, Swift had tie-ins with Subway, Keds, Target, Xfinity, and Diet Coke. In 2014, Swift released her fifth fragrance, Incredible Things. Swift signed a multi-year deal with AT&T in 2016. She later headlined DirecTV's Super Saturday Night, the night prior to the 2017 Super Bowl. While promoting Reputation, Swift released a series of behind-the-scenes videos showing the album recording process through DirecTV. In 2018, Swift released two commercials for AT&T. The same year, Swift partnered with UPS as an official delivery partner for Reputation and Fujifilm on the special edition autographed Instax camera, which includes a selfie mode and double exposure. The cameras showed massive growth in sales after partnership with Swift. In 2019, Swift signed a multi-year partnership with Capital One.